Welcome to This Explainer. I am so pumped you're tuning in today. Look, think of me as your coach for the next few minutes, and consider this your ultimate pre-game pep talk. You are an 8th grader right on the brink of an amazing milestone, and we are gearing up for week 36. This is the big one, guys, the STAR simulation. Today, we're diving into godly mathematics, and specifically, we're talking about the spirit of perseverance. Because let's be honest, sometimes 8th grade math can feel way less like numbers and a whole lot more like a foreign language, you know? But you've been putting in the sweat equity all year long, and it's almost time to actually put those skills to the test. We aren't just going to look at the math, though. We're going to dig into the mindset, the strategy, and the spirit you absolutely need to conquer it. So grab your pencil, clear your desk, and let's get focused.
All right, here is today's game plan. We'll start with your time to shine, then move into working with purpose. After that, we'll hit strategies for success, reflect and grow, and finally wrap up with education with morality.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, Your Time to Shine, bringing 8th grade text together. So all year long, you've been learning these different 8th grade math concepts, the texts, piece by piece. You've got equations, geometry, data analysis. Honestly, it can feel like a giant box of puzzle pieces. But right now, today, those pieces are finally coming together to form a complete picture in a 30-minute STAR-style test simulation. Now, this is a mixed review. That means you aren't just going to see one specific type of math problem. You're going to see a little bit of everything, exactly like the real state of Texas assessments of academic readiness. You'll face multiple choice questions where you've really got to use that process of elimination, and you'll tackle griddable questions where you have to supply the exact answer all by yourself. 30 minutes of absolute dialed-in focus. It's a sprint, sure, but it is exactly the sprint you've been training for all year.
Moving right along to Section 2, Working with Purpose, the why behind the test.
You know, it is so incredibly easy to look at a 30-minute test and just see stress, right? A timer counting down, a bunch of random numbers, but we really need to understand the deeper why behind this test. Why are we pushing ourselves so hard? Well, Colossians 3:23 tells us, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord." I want you to just let that sink in for a second. When you sit down to take this math simulation, you aren't just performing for your teacher, your school, or honestly, even for yourself. You're working with a much higher spiritual purpose. When you give your absolute best effort, when you work with all your heart, you are serving the Lord. And man, that brings a tremendous amount of peace, doesn't it? It literally takes the anxiety right out of the test. You just have to bring your heart and your effort, and the rest, it'll totally fall into place.
Now, absolutely crucial point here. Show your thinking and show your growth. Did you know that your brain actually builds brand new physical connections when you make a mistake and then correct it? It's true. So taking this simulation seriously isn't just about getting the right answers, it's about practicing perseverance. When you sit in those real test-like conditions, the actual STAR test suddenly starts to feel familiar instead of, well, terrifying. You're building confidence. And, just as importantly, when you show your thinking on your scratch paper, you are literally giving your teacher a map of your brain. If you make a mistake, and hey, we all do, your teacher can see exactly where you went off track and give you the super specific support you need. Just trust in your preparation and let that growth shine right through.
All right, let's switch gears. Section 3, Strategies for Success, Tactical Test Taking. So, faith and effort are amazing, obviously. But we also need sharp, effective tools in our tool belt to actually conquer this exam. Listen, these aren't just polite suggestions. These are your golden rules for the next 30 minutes. Ready? First, read each question carefully. Please don't rush. Second, underline your keywords. Is the question asking for the total, the difference, or maybe the not true statement? Underline it. Make it pop. Third, estimate first. Before you dive into any heavy-duty calculations, just look at the numbers and guess a logical ballpark answer. I promise this will save you from falling for those super tricky wrong answers. Fourth, use your scratch paper. Keep that thinking organized. And fifth, if you get stuck, skip it and come back later. Do not let one tough question steal 5 precious minutes of your time. Just keep moving.
Okay, now let's talk about the really tricky part, handling griddables. On multiple choice questions, the answer is right there staring back at you. But on a griddable, you are flying solo. So step 1, watch for decimals. A misplaced decimal changes the whole shebang. Step 2, check for negatives. Did you accidentally drop a minus sign halfway through your calculations? Double check. And step 3, ensure proper alignment. When you bubble in that grid, make absolutely 100% sure your ones place is in the ones column and your tens are in the tens column. It is downright heartbreaking to do all the complex math perfectly, only to lose points over a simple formatting error. So stay sharp and just follow these steps.
Okay, time's up, pencils down. Section 4, reflect and grow, after the simulation.
You know, what happens after that 30-minute timer goes off is actually just as crucial as what happens while it's running. We don't just take a test and toss it in the trash, right? We analyze it, we learn from it. So take a deep breath with me and let's do a quick mental reset. What was the hardest question for you today? I want you to really think about it. Identifying the struggle is literally the very first step toward mastering it. Did it have messy fractions? Was it some crazy geometry word problem? Acknowledging the hard stuff, that is exactly how champions get better.
And that brings us right to your homework, your post-game analysis. First, I want you to identify the easiest question on that test and explain exactly why it was a breeze for you. Claim those victories. Second, document that hardest question we just talked about and describe how you tried to solve it. What was your approach? Third, what math skill do you feel the most confident about right now? Fourth, as you look ahead to becoming a high schooler, which is coming up so soon, what is one skill you really want to review more before you get there? And finally, the ultimate challenge, an extension. I want you to create your very own star-style problem and then solve it. Because listen, when you can think like the test maker, you can beat the test.
Wrapping things up with Section 5, Education with Morality, the Hero's Mart Philosophy.
As we wrap up this explainer, let's kind of pull back for a second and look at the really big picture here. This is the core of the Hero's Mart philosophy and the Godly Learners series. Consider this pretty powerful contrast for a moment. What is the actual point of being incredibly smart, of acing every single STAR test, of being supposedly educated, if you just continue to make bad choices in your life that hurt yourself and hurt others? Intelligence without a moral compass is, well, it's pretty dangerous. But when you combine your hard-earned intelligence with a strong biblical foundation, the result is genuine peace of mind. Your education becomes this incredible tool to do good, to make wise choices, and ultimately to live a really fulfilling life.
And the amazing thing is, we don't just hope for this peace, it's actually promised to us. Romans 8, 6-7 promises peace of mind to absolutely everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. This is our experience, and it's the experience of everyone who truly engages with this specific way of learning. When the pressure of the tests builds up or when the everyday anxieties of life start weighing you down, keeping your mind anchored in your faith and your spiritual purpose acts like this unbreakable shield. It brings a profound, steady peace that you just can't get anywhere else. So, you are fully equipped. You've got the math skills, you've got the test-taking strategies, and most importantly, you have the spiritual grounding to work with all your heart. Go tackle that simulation, trust in your preparation, and always remember the higher purpose behind everything you do. I'm going to leave you with this final thought. How will you use your education and morality today to build a future that brings you true peace?